Welcome back to the channel, returning fans, and a massive hello to all our new listeners. You've arrived just in time for peak fantasy capitalism. Let's begin with episode 2. Wait, what's this? A gaming system interface appears. Lloyd suddenly realizes he can earn RP, but the instructions are frustratingly vague. Is it like experience points? A currency? The system offers no explanation, no hint of how to use them, or even what they really are. The mystery deepens as a blue notification confirms that RP is earned by improving relationships with key characters. Lloyd stares at the screen, realizing that his survival depends on making people actually like him for once. Good luck. Suddenly, a buzz sounds and Lloyd spots a target. Standing in the field is Javier, the handsome and stoic knight. This is a key character if I ever saw one. It is time for Lloyd to test the system. A loud ding reveals the cold, hard truth. Javier's approval rating is a disastrous -30. That is incredibly low, even for a guy as obnoxious as the old Lloyd. He has a lot of digging to do. Lloyd decides to turn on the charm, or at least his version of it. He nervously approaches the knight, calling out to Master Javier with a face that screams he is definitely up to something very suspicious and weird. Putting on his best pretty boy sparkle, Lloyd drops a massive, sarcastic compliment. He tells Javier he is very good looking, desperately trying to buy some favor. The system sees right through his ridiculous, greedy little heart, though. Disaster strikes. Another ding announces that Javier's approval actually dropped by 1 point. Apparently, Javier isn't a fan of blatant flattery. Lloyd is shocked. How could his brilliant, sparkling plan possibly backfire so quickly and so painfully? Realizing he is only making things worse, Lloyd decides to retreat and leave the social engineering for later. Rushing things will only lead to a deeper hole. He needs a better strategy to win over this grumpy, handsome knight. Lloyd and Javier headed off to this humble pub, but don't let the cozy atmosphere fool you. In this world, a pub isn't just for drinking. It is the perfect place for a desperate noble to cook up a brand new plan. Lloyd is already hard at work, drafting contracts with a pen and a dream of not being broke. He is officially the builder now, ready to turn this failing estate around through sheer, stubborn willpower and business. Lloyd is closing the deal of a lifetime with a very skeptical pub owner. He confidently explains that all construction fees will be written off against the property he previously damaged. Now, sign here, he commands with absolute authority. The pub owner isn't making this easy, staring at Lloyd with a gaze full of pure suspicion. The system even chimes in to confirm that the man is looking at him very warily. Clearly, Lloyd's reputation as a hooligan is a major hurdle. It gets worse. The system alerts Lloyd that the owner is using a special skill called Stonewall Heart. No one trusts this guy, and Lloyd realizes his past life as a drunken noble has left him with zero credibility in this town. Lloyd refuses to let his big plan fail right at the starting line. He clenches his teeth, realizing he has to resort to a tactic he was hoping to avoid. If honesty won't work, he will have to use his own bad reputation. With a terrifying frown, Lloyd leans in and decides to lean into his hooligan image to intimidate the poor man. He demands trust with a face that looks more like a villain than a hero. It is a bold, crazy move. The intimidation actually works. The owner frantically scribbles his signature, while the system bluntly calls Lloyd absolute garbage for his methods. Lloyd doesn't care about the insult. He only cares about getting the job done his way. Victory is sweet. Lloyd triumphantly holds up his first official order with a wicked, greedy grin. He shoves the contract into his coat, ready to begin his journey from a hated noble to the world's greatest estate developer. Lloyd gives the owner one last reassurance, laughing, heh heh, while Javier watches from behind in total silence. The knight looks completely unimpressed by Lloyd's shady business tactics, but the deal is officially done. Shovel in hand, Lloyd stands on the construction site ready to work. He thinks to himself that since the project is cozy, he doesn't need to be too precise with his measurements. This sounds like the start of another hilarious disaster. Javier addresses Lloyd with his usual stoic formality. Lloyd looks over his shoulder, curious to see what the knight wants now. The tension between the greedy noble and his disapproving bodyguard is as thick as ever. He is not easily fooled by Lloyd's shady business tactics. He bluntly points out that Lloyd threatened the pub owner to get that signature. The knight is clearly wondering if his master is just finding new ways to cause trouble. Lloyd catches Javier's judgmental gaze with a look of his own. He is not about to let a little thing like ethics or knightly honor get in the way of his construction project. It is time for a psychological intervention. Lloyd hits Javier with a surprisingly deep question. He asks if the knight has ever heard of cognitive distortion, claiming that Javier isn't as reasonable as he seems. Javier looks genuinely confused by this sudden, modern psychological jargon. Getting into full lecture mode, Lloyd explains that cognitive distortion is when you judge someone's future actions based solely on their past. He calls it a brain-clinging prejudice fueled by negative thinking. He is really laying it on thick. Javier isn't buying the lecture. He calmly argues that his opinion isn't based on prejudice, but rather on cold, hard experience and statistics. To be fair, the old Lloyd gave him plenty of data to work with. Lloyd counters with a sharp retort, asking if experience and statistics aren't all just things from the dead past anyway. He is determined to prove that the man standing before Javier today is a completely different kind of monster. The smooth talking seems to be working, or at least it's leaving Javier speechless. The knight stands in stunned silence, wondering when his master became such a silver-tongued orator. Lloyd definitely knows how to win an argument with style. With a determined look, Lloyd makes a bold promise to the skeptical knight. He declares that he will make them smile. It is a lofty goal for someone who just intimidated a local business owner into a contract. Digging into the dirt with a powerful shove, Lloyd vows to bring a genuine smile to the pub owner and his mother. He is putting his back into it now, ready to build something that actually helps people. As the shovel bites into the earth, Lloyd remains focused on those future smiles. He is turning over a new leaf, one scoop of dirt at a time, proving that even a garbage noble can build a better future. With a manic look in his eyes, Lloyd flings his shovel into the air. He shouts that this very ground will be the foundation of his future money-making empire. His greedy soul is finally in its happy place. The hard work begins with a repetitive rhythm. Scoop out the dirt, move it, pack it, and repeat. Lloyd is a one-man construction crew, determined to finish the job under the watchful, judging eyes of Javier. Lloyd uses timber sourced directly from the Baron's residence warehouse. He is building a traditional timber frame, a complex construction method using heavy logs. The sounds of bang and clang echo through the estate as he works. Lloyd uses clay dug up from the river to complete the walls, and the structure is finally standing. He collapses on the ground in total exhaustion, having built an entire house with his own two hands. Gasping for air, Lloyd realizes the hard truth. His new body is incredibly weak. He lies in the dirt, sweating and panting, completely drained by a level of physical labor the original Lloyd Frontera never could have handled. Javier remains unimpressed, coolly noting that the project didn't take long, only 3 cuts. Lloyd snaps back in a rage, screaming that it actually took him a whole week of backbreaking, agonizing work to finish it. Javier watches in silent disbelief. He can't help but wonder where the hooligan Lloyd learned these skills. Is it possible that the lazy, drunken noble is actually planning on honoring his contract with the pub owner? Lloyd is trembling from head to toe, his muscles screaming in protest. He is incredibly sore, but his mind is still racing. He knows there is no time to rest if he wants to avoid bankruptcy and disaster. With a shaky exhale, Lloyd picks up an axe. His entire body is literally vibrating with fatigue, but he forces himself to keep moving. The sheer willpower of a man desperate for money is truly a terrifying thing. Every swing of the axe is a struggle as Lloyd continues to shake and groan. He is pushing himself to the absolute limit, proving that even a weak body can't stop a man on a mission to get rich. Lloyd's shaky body finally gives out, causing him to stagger dangerously while holding the heavy axe. He lets out a panicked cry as he loses his balance, nearly falling over from pure physical exhaustion. Suddenly, a strong hand reaches out with a firm grab, catching the axe handle midair. Someone has stepped in just in time to prevent a messy construction accident from ending Lloyd's grand money-making dreams. It is Javier to the rescue. The stoic knight supports Lloyd's trembling shoulder while holding the axe steady. Lloyd looks up in surprise, caught off guard by the sudden assistance from his usually judgmental and distant bodyguard. Javier reaches out to take the tool, his steady hands a sharp contrast to Lloyd's vibrating, exhausted ones. He is finally stepping up to help, perhaps realizing that his master is actually serious about finishing this project. Javier asks what needs to be done, and Lloyd immediately lists specific measurements. He needs thin pieces of wood, each exactly 2 hands tall, 1 hand wide, and 1 finger thick. The builder's brain never rests. Javier tosses several logs into the air with a calm, focused expression. He doesn't need a workbench or precise tools. He is about to show Lloyd the true power of a high-level knight in a construction zone. With a powerful swing, Javier's axe becomes a blur of motion. His eyes are locked on the falling timber, prepared to execute a feat of precision that would be impossible for any normal human builder to perform. Slice, slice, slice. The logs are perfectly carved into identical planks in midair. Javier's incredible swordsmanship skills are being used for carpentry, creating the exact pieces Lloyd requested with terrifyingly efficient and beautiful speed. The finished wood pieces land on the ground with a satisfying clatter. Every single plank is uniform and perfectly shaped, ready to be used for the next stage of Lloyd's mysterious and ambitious building project. Lloyd is absolutely speechless, his mouth hanging open in shock at Javier's display of skill. He quickly gives a frantic thumbs up, realizing that having a master knight as an assistant is the ultimate construction cheat code. Watching Javier work, Lloyd is absolutely awestruck. He realizes he is witnessing the power of a future master swordsman. With a skill level like that, who needs modern construction equipment, Javier is a one-man powerhouse. Lloyd leans in close, putting a familiar hand on Javier's shoulder. The knight remains stoic, but the dynamic is clearly shifting. Lloyd is no longer just a lazy noble. He is becoming a master manipulator of talent. Instead of a heartfelt thank you, Lloyd immediately hands Javier a shovel. He asks with a cheeky grin if the knight can help with the digging next. Lloyd's audacity knows no bounds when there is work to finish. Javier is absolutely fuming, his face contorted in a hilarious mask of regret. He can't believe that his help was rewarded with even more manual labor. He is officially starting to regret every life choice that led here. Lloyd starts teasing the knight, claiming Javier is only helping because he's curious to see how the con ends. He expertly baits Javier, suggesting that if they want to see the results, they simply have to work faster. With a wicked, confident smirk, Lloyd holds up his shovel and declares that the only way forward is for them to do it together. He is a master at turning a forced partnership into a team effort for his own benefit. Javier remains silent, staring at Lloyd with a look of pure, concentrated exhaustion and disbelief. He is trapped in Lloyd's pace, unable to argue with the logic even if he hates the man behind it. The struggle is real. The construction site becomes a blur of activity as the duo starts digging in earnest. Scoop, scoop, scoop. They work side by side in the trenches, a high-ranking knight and a greedy noble-turned builder, united by a hole in the ground. Javier is putting his back into it now, sweat pouring down his face as he shoves the shovel into the earth. Even when doing manual labor, the knight maintains a level of intensity that is both impressive and slightly terrifying. Not to be outdone, Lloyd is flinging dirt with frantic energy. He is panting and covered in grime, but his eyes are still full of that signature greed. The labor continues with every shovel of dirt thrown as Lloyd pushes his body to the limit. He is determined to see this through, fueled by a singular focus that borders on madness. The construction site is a whirlwind of pure effort. With a dramatic twirl, Lloyd handles his tools like a seasoned professional, showing off a flair for the dramatic even when he is exhausted. He is fully immersed in his role as the master builder, leading the way with relentless energy. Slam! The shovel hits the earth one last time, signaling the end of the grueling excavation phase. Every strike has been a step toward his big payday, and Lloyd is not about to quit until the job is completely finished. Finally, the structure is standing tall against the sky. Lloyd stands back to admire the fruit of his labor, proudly looking up at the house he built. It may be simple, but to him, it represents the start of his empire. With a triumphant fist in the air, Lloyd screams that the construction is finally complete. He has survived a week of hellish labor to honor his contract, proving that he is a man of his word when money is involved. Lloyd proudly displays a wooden plaque featuring a strange symbol. When Javier asks if they are letters, Lloyd explains it is actually his brand's logo. "It is a thing," he says, marking his work with his own unique signature. With the building done, Lloyd turns back to Javier with a sly look. It is time for the final part of his plan. He invites the knight to join him as they go to settle things with the pub owner. Lloyd wears a wicked, knowing grin as he contemplates the con he has cooked up for the poor owner. He is ready to reveal his true masterpiece, and it's clear that his business mind is already 3 steps ahead. Javier can only stare in silence, his face a mask of weary resignation. He has seen enough of Lloyd's antics to know that whatever comes next will be both surprising and probably very, very dramatic. The knight is exhausted. A sudden whoosh of wind blows through the trees as the scene shifts. The stage is set for a major revelation. As the cozy fire crackles in the hearth, but this isn't just for atmosphere. Lloyd is putting his engineering knowledge to work, proving that a little heat goes a long way. The pops and snaps of the wood signal a massive change coming. Look at this humble little house. From the outside, it looks like any other cottage, but the chimney is pumping out smoke for a very specific reason. Lloyd has installed a traditional Ondol heating system to save the day and his wallet. Steam is rising everywhere. The pub owner's elderly mother is lying on the floor, looking absolutely revitalized. Her son is panicking, thinking something is wrong, but she has never felt better. Lloyd's magic floor is working its architectural wonders on her. The old woman is practically glowing with joy. She exclaims that all her stiff, aching joints finally feel relaxed. It turns out that a heated floor is the ultimate cure for a lifetime of labor in this cold, medieval fantasy world. The pub owner is absolutely stunned. He touches the floor and feels the intense, consistent heat radiating upward. He can't believe his eyes or his hands. How is a floor this warm without a massive fire burning right under their feet? Lloyd watches with a smug, satisfied smirk. He knows exactly how revolutionary this is. To these people, basic engineering feels like high-level sorcery. He's not just building a floor, he's building a reputation that will eventually lead to massive profits. The power of the Ondol floor is unleashed. The old woman feels like she's floating in a magical circle of warmth. Lloyd's modern knowledge is officially the most powerful magic in this land, and he's just getting started with his renovations. The pub owner is moved to tears, thanking the young master profusely. It's been years since he's seen his mother smile with such genuine relief. Lloyd's plan to win over the locals is working perfectly, one warm toe at a time. Even the knight, Javier, is forced to admit that Lloyd's plan actually worked. He looks on with a mix of suspicion and genuine surprise. The pub owner and his mother are happy, exactly as Lloyd predicted they would be. How annoying. Javier is having a full-blown internal crisis. Lloyd's speech and manners have changed, and now he's actually working hard and keeping promises. The lazy noble he once knew is gone, replaced by a man obsessed with civil engineering and success. Javier watches the heartwarming scene with deep skepticism. He can't wrap his head around the idea of Lloyd doing something just to make people smile. In his mind, the old Lloyd Frontera would never act so selflessly. Despite Javier's doubts, the proof is right in front of him. The pub owner and his mother are beaming with pure, unadulterated happiness. It is a sight so rare that it feels almost surreal to anyone who knew the old Lloyd. As Javier looks at the joyful pair, a small, rare smile tugs at his own lips. He acknowledges that, for whatever reason, these two people are genuinely happy right now. Lloyd is actually making a positive impact on the estate's residents. Suddenly, a game-like system notification pings. Lloyd's approval rating with Javier has increased by 2 points. Though it is still at a dismal -29, he's earned relationship points for finally connecting with a key character in this world. Lloyd flashes a knowing, confident smile as the digital rewards manifest. He may not be a traditional hero, but he knows how to play the game. Every point earned is a step closer to survival and ultimate financial security. Lloyd tries to read Javier's mind, jokingly suggesting that the knight thinks he isn't total garbage anymore. Javier immediately shuts him down with a blunt nope, proving that their hilarious, bickering dynamic is still very much alive and well. With the first project complete, Lloyd reflects on the business side. Even though the timber costs made this specific house a financial loss, he isn't worried. He's playing the long game, and he knows that you have to spend money to make money. Lloyd reveals his true master plan. This small house is actually a model house used for show. He's using modern real estate marketing tactics in a fantasy world. He's not just building homes, he's creating a demand for a lifestyle. A few days later, the plan is a massive success. Villagers are lined up around the block just to get a glimpse inside the heated cottage. Lloyd has turned a simple renovation into the hottest attraction in the entire territory. The feedback is overwhelming. One man exits the house literally steaming, exclaiming that he thought he was going to melt from the heat. The villagers are shocked by the effectiveness. Lloyd has officially started a heating revolution in the estate. Lloyd is in full salesman mode, tapping his desk with manic energy. He pitches the amazing warmth of the Ondol system to a sweating villager, practically guaranteeing they'll want a heated room of their own at home. The technical drawings come out as Lloyd presents two distinct construction packages. Whether it is an annex in the yard or a full home remodel, he offers a 10% discount if you order both. Despite the amazing demo, the villager hesitates, and a system notification confirms the harsh reality. The people still don't trust Lloyd. He pleads for a little mutual faith, realizing his past reputation is a major hurdle. Lloyd acts completely offended, claiming he's practically giving the technology away at these prices. He tries to guilt-trip the potential customer, but his dramatic performance is interrupted by a very familiar, very stern voice. Lloyd freezes mid-sentence as someone calls his name with absolute authority. His goofy, greedy expression instantly vanishes, replaced by a look of genuine concern as he turns to face the newcomer. It's a family reunion, but not the happy kind. Lloyd's father, Lloyd Frontera, appears with a look of pure disappointment. He demands to know what on earth his son thinks he is doing acting like a common peddler. The system chime rings again, but this time it isn't good news. Lloyd's approval rating with his father is a staggering -20. It seems engineering isn't exactly considered a noble pursuit in this household. Lloyd stares back at his father, sweating under the intense pressure of the confrontation. The comedy takes a backseat for a moment as the reality of his family's precarious social standing and debt finally hits home. Thank you for watching, and that is a wrap on episode 2. Lloyd's business is booming, but his family life is a total disaster. Can he convince his father that engineering is the key to saving their estate? As always, like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments if you'd live